What's going on, Falcons fans? Matthew Peterosn from Chat Sports here, filling in for Thomas Mott, just getting the call up from the bullpen, and we're going to talk about the latest Falcons news and rumors together. We're going to go all over the map, from signing Eddie Goldman to a potential Jimmy G trade, plus the NFL.com rankings of, well, it's not good. We'll save that for the end. But let's start things off by talking about Eddie Goldman, the latest Chicago Bear to come down to Atlanta as the Falcons signed him to a one-year deal after releasing Davison and just adding a little extra beef and depth to that defensive line. So Goldman last year for Chicago did not perform well. Let's just call it what it is, right? He sat out 2020 due to COVID, comes back in 2021. Some people in Chicago really questioned his love for the game and his desire to continue playing football. A former day 2 pick for the Bears, got off to a strong start in his career, but then it kind of tapered off towards the 2020-2021 season. Ultimately, the new GM in Chicago, Ryan Poles, releases him as kind of a salary cap spacer, and it's now just another player making the trek from Chicago down to Atlanta. The Atlanta Bears, that's what producer Jeff is calling them. Damien Williams follows his old GM, Ryan Pace, down. Elijah Wilkinson on the offensive line, along with Germain Ifedi, Teez, Tabor, Damiere, Byrd, Eddie Goldman. 6 players who played for the Bears last season have followed their old GM, Ryan Pace, down to Atlanta and have joined the Falcons. To me, it's very clear. Ryan Pace, I don't know what he did to Terry Fontenot, but he's got him by the balls, right? He is getting all of his guys, which sort of led to his demise in a way. Ultimately, the reason why Ryan Pace got fired in Chicago was because he couldn't get the quarterback position down. But it is a little weird, right? Can we agree? For 6 players to go from one team? I mean, I don't know if they got like a Groupon or something, a little deal, buy one, get 5 free or something, but 6 guys following their way down or making their way down to Atlanta. Let's just peek at the depth chart now with Eddie Goldman, and we'll pencil him in as the starting nose tackle for the time being, but he's going to have to earn his spot for sure throughout training camp and whatnot. But Grady Jarrett, Eddie Goldman, you hope that these 2 guys can form a nice 1-2 punch on the defensive line. Honestly, the defense can't really be worse than it was last year, so you pair Jarrett and Goldman up front, and then you hope you get Arnold Ebiketie, a good pick out of Penn State, and then Lorenzo Carter. Plus, in the secondary, you got A.J. Terrell, Hayward. So hopefully you're putting together a couple good pieces to make this defense, at least watchable compared to last year. But I'll ask you guys to grade the Eddie Goldman signing. A, B, C, D, or F. What grade would you give it? Let me know down in the comments section. I'll go B. A little above average. Not a home run pick for a guy who only had half a sack last year, but he's had some good years in his career. Next up on the show, should the Falcons be looking into trading for Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, after Baker Mayfield got shipped off to Carolina, now there's really only one quarterback left to be traded, so maybe Jimmy G finally gets dealt from San Francisco. If you missed it, here were the trade details for that Baker Mayfield trade, which sent him from Cleveland to Carolina, and all the Browns got back was a 2024 conditional 5th, could be a 4th. If he plays 70% of his of snaps this season, it will be a 4th, so let's just kind of call it a 4th. Probably not what the Browns were looking for when they first embarked on this Baker Mayfield trade saga, but ultimately I'm sure they're happy just to get him off their roster, and the Panthers are happy to get a competent quarterback. Now, when you look at some of these stats here between Mariota and Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of their most recent years where they were the starting quarterback, because for Mariota, you got to go back a little bit in terms of when he actually, remember 2019, he split time with Tannehill after he got benched. Not the best stuff from Mariota. 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. There's a reason why he got benched, and there's a reason why he had a 2-year stint in Vegas as a backup quarterback when he was never really looked at as a potential to steal the starting job. Listen, I think Jimmy Garoppolo would be a clear and obvious upgrade over Marcus Mariota. But you have to wonder if Desmond Ridder is the plan down the road. Does bringing Jimmy G in actually do you a whole lot of good? Or does he stunt that growth potentially? I try to struggle with the balance of what's good for maybe the team long term and the fan base versus what Arthur Smith wants, right? Because he wants to win, and so does Fontenot, because they don't want to get fired. And Mariota is not going to bring you as much wins as Jimmy Garoppolo would. I can definitively say your team would win more football games with Jimmy G under center, but is that really what's best for Ritter if they view him as the long-term option? So here's a trade idea producer Jeff put up, and initially I thought it might not be enough to get Garoppolo, but you just saw Baker go for a conditional fifth. So honestly, that kind of sucks the air out of the market a little bit. Now the Niners, they don't have much leverage, right? They have the last quarterback, she's the last girl at the dance, and no one wants to dance with her. That's just the fact of the matter. Plus, San Francisco may not be in love with Trey Lance. There's some weird rumors going on in the Bay Area about that. But a fifth may sound crazy. Jimmy G would have to restructure his contract. That $24 million base salary is not something Atlanta's interested in picking up, but it may be attainable easier than maybe what we thought a couple months ago. But I'll let you guys be the GM here. Would you trade for Jimmy G? I think he offers a better season this year. Is he the long-term option? No. But I'm curious what you have to say, trade or pass. Plus, while you're down there getting your votes in, make sure you subscribe and not only hit that sub button, but hit the little bell icon. It's like right over there. Bingo. Boom. Notifications on. You don't miss a thing when it comes to the Dirty Birds. Hit that big red button, subscribe, and get those noties on. That way you are plugged in for the best Falcons coverage here on YouTube. Final story of the show. Are the Falcons the least likely team to end a playoff drought? Well, the mothership, NFL.com, certainly thinks so. They did a write-up of teams who have a playoff drought and which ones are more likely versus least likely to end it. They've got the Chargers at number one in terms of most likely to end a playoff drought. 3 seasons makes a lot of sense. They got a lot of good pieces this offseason. They've got Justin Herbert. The Dolphins at 5 seasons. They come in at number 2. Denver at 3 with Russell Wilson. The Jags at 4. Interesting. Trevor Lawrence is going to be good this year, but still, it is the Jags. 5, Giants. No, I think the Giants are going to suck this year. The Lions over at number 6. I think the Lions will be sneaky good, and the NFC is pretty reachable in terms of that 7 seed. Remember the last couple of seasons? Like you had the Bears make the playoffs 500 in the first year of it. Last year the Eagles made the playoffs, but they never really looked like a playoff team, and Tampa exposed that. The Panthers at 7 is cheeky because you don't know what you're going to get with Baker. The Jets, a lot of smoke going up in the East Meadowlands area about the Jets. We'll see if they're legit. But the Falcons, just a 4-year playoff drought, but they were ranked dead last for most likely to end a playoff drought. Here's what NFL.com said about it. Matt Ryan is in Indianapolis. Calvin Ridley is suspended for the year. The defense is riddled with holes. Marcus Mariota is Marcus Mariota. Sure, I love Kyle Pitts' rare talent and Drake London's instant upside. I still believe Arthur Smith can coach. But the 2022 Falcons are flawed in most areas. That is what the ground floor of a rebuild looks like. Trying to win last year made sense. Tearing it down to build it back up was the only play in 2022. I still like the people in charge for the future of this franchise, but it's going to be a long, long year in Atlanta. I don't think they're terribly off base with a lot of that analysis, because if it is Mariota starting the entire season, and Mariota looks like what he did the last time he was a starter, you'll only go that far with him. And he doesn't have a great supporting cast around him. Kyle Pitts is awesome. Full believer in Drake London, but still, when you're at Mariota's level, you need a little bit more than that. A tight end can only do so much for you, right? There's a reason why tight ends don't get picked first overall. So, are they the least likely team to end a playoff drought? I would think maybe not, only because the NFC is rather weak. And maybe you could sneak into that 7 spot, whereas in the AFC, you're going to have a 10-win team, maybe 2 10-win teams that don't make the playoffs because it's that crowded. So rate the Falcons' playoff chances of making the playoffs. Scale it 1 to 100. Curious where you guys stand on this. And once again, while you're down in the comments section, if you haven't subscribed already, would greatly appreciate if you did so. That way you can get the best Falcons coverage out there, and you never miss a beat here at Chat Sports.